Are you happy? Are you deep down satisfied with the person you are, how you're living your life, and the future as it appears today? Do you have a passion? Is there any one thing in your life that is so important that it makes prioritizing everything else simple? If the answer to any of those questions is no, do you have any idea why? Welcome to the Verimour Speaks podcast. I'm your host, Dawn Keegan, co-founder of the dating app Verimour and the nonprofit app Hero Harbor. Happiness, mine and that of others, is something that's always been very important to me. I've devoted my life to understanding how we take the things life throws at us and combine that with our own special gifts to come away with an experience that, while not always perfect, is one we are proud of and allows us the fewest regrets and least amount of heartache. Whether through my personal musings or conversations with guests, the aim here is not to find a one-size-fits-all to-do list of change, but instead a mindset that lessens our fear, reduces judgment of ourselves and others, and frees each individual to build the life that truly represents happiness for them. Thank you for joining us on the Verimour Speaks podcast. I've always worked to provide the most honest, helpful content I could in forms that reach the largest possible audience. And my extreme dislike of greed-driven organizations means I do so without ads or sponsors. But for us to continue improving with better guests and more consistent production quality, we need your help. If you have found any value in what we do and the content provided, please show us a little love by making a contribution directly to the podcast or as a tax-deductible donation on the heroharbor.org website. Thank you again for listening, and please enjoy the show.
Out of suffering have emerged the strongest souls.
And now they're killing themselves. There's a different reason. And one of the things that I think, one of the biggest things I think that's going on that happens all the time, it's a cycle that the VA should be ashamed for, is they get people on pills. They get these people that are serious, strong-minded, strong-willed individuals. They get them on pills. It breaks down their will.
Yeah.
You get them on, not that it's bad to get money from the VA, but you, along with getting money, you get pills. So all of a sudden you don't have to work and you're medicated out of your gourd. And then they keep adding pills until it does give more physical problems and then mental problems. And then pretty soon you have a person that was one of the best that can't even get back into the workforce.
Yeah.
It's just terrible. Yeah. This isn't something where somebody just decided to, which that's another that can self-medication in that way can be a problem too. Yeah. This isn't something where somebody went partying and screwed themselves up. This is a person that actually cared about the country, care about the country, comes back, wants help, and what they get is the exact opposite of help.
Well, and that's the other thing I was going to say. Yeah.
With somebody who's that kind of a person that needs some sort of purpose in life, you take all that away, what do you think in the end is going to happen? They're just going to kill themselves. And it's not even going to be in that kind of a way. I have a different way of thinking than I used to, even about people, even about the thinking of it being so selfish of a thing. I don't know about that, because that's completely.
You can't judge it. I mean, everybody is different.
Different way of thinking than not even them anymore.
Well, that's the thing. So there's so many facets to this, and of course you and I are preaching to the choir, but it's important that
but lots out there don't know.
Well, right, exactly, and that's why I'm doing this. And so I'm going to have a few requests of you before we finish up here. But So there's a variety of things. Okay, so again, the mentality while I was taking all those drugs, I went from an incredibly proud and again, I was a bodybuilder, deadlifted 315 for reps. I'm an incredible writer. 16 years I shoved that shit down my throat. I totaled 2 different vehicles. And I'm lucky not to have had more accidents. The only time I attempted suicide was on their medications. I finally came to the realization that whether it's right or wrong, I won't survive as long as I'm taking these drugs. So, like you said, I was not myself. So you have changed their mentality in terms of seeing themselves as weak, and then you've altered their brain chemistry, and so I was off of the meds for years. But I was struggling. I needed focus. I wasn't working at the time, and I needed. In the forward to my book, I say I was like one of those highly intelligent breeds of dogs that like a Belgian Malinois. If they don't have a job, they will destroy everything in your life, and that was me. And so I went to the VA because I tend to be ADD. I've probably been a little ADD all my life, but it's been exacerbated by those drugs. Anyway, I went to the VA and I said, look, you've got to give me something. I'm not taking anything new. So give me something I've taken before. Well, they did. And you know how that ended? I had never owned a gun in my life. I went and spent my last $400 on whatever it was. I don't even know, but a pistol. And I was sitting at my computer with it pointed at my head, safety off. But somewhere deep in my soul, I knew that I had value and I knew I had something to offer. The thing is, with women, most of the time it's suicide, attempted suicide by pills. But with the men, it's, and the staff sergeant that launched today, well, I won't give away the rest of his story, but his wife saved him from an attempt. And so it's so often it's gun or hanging, so they don't get a second chance. Had I succeeded, I wouldn't be here to do all the things that I'm doing. But so like you said, you've got the mentality of now I'm weak, and then you've got the altered brain chemistry. And what I was the follow-up to this is that I slept fine throughout the Marine Corps and even after I got out. But after their meds, I haven't slept more than, and it's never a steady 5 hours, not more than 5 hours in a couple of decades. And that's another thing that people are like, oh, you need to sleep. Yeah, you're right. I would love to sleep. And I don't know where my vodka bottle is, but that's how I sleep. And it terrifies me because alcohol has never been a big part of my life. And occasionally I'll get a pain in my abdomen or something, and it freaks me out because my brain is the most important thing that I have. And fucking it up like that. But again, so you go into the VA and like, oh, you got to stop drinking. I got to sleep. And I'm out here trying to do amazing things and to save lives. And so I get it. There are so many things. And so go ahead.
The drinking, obviously that's the most common.
It's the easiest. It's legal. It's right.
Self-medicating, because for one thing, even though it does kill you in the long run, it's safer in the short run.
Right.
And in most situations, especially if a person's able to control it a little bit.
Right.
But for me, I drank a lot of Jaeger. And a lot of Fireball. And I was one of those, like,
it tastes like
Corps, I was terrible in the Corps. Like,
see, I didn't drink it all when I was in the Marine Corps.
I can't say my anger problems came from the Marine Corps or something like that. Like, I had a lot of anger in me from younger years, but
a lot of people joined because of
a lot of things didn't help along the way. And I ended up being one of those guys. Like, I'd go to the bar and I would line up 7 Jaeger bombs and I would drink those, and that's how I would get started, So I had a lot of blacked out, wild, crazy. I mean, the Marine Corps ended up finally, they told me to go to rehab. Man, I was terrible Marine I was horrid back in garrison. Like, I mean, fight after fight after fight, like all kinds of stuff. Got so much trouble out in town. I was going to go to Orange County Jail for 3 years, and I went UA for a while. Then I hired an attorney, then came back and ended up in the brig. And I got court-martialed, and
but you got it. Here's the thing. You still have to remember this. You are not alone. You are not alone. And because of that, you're not a bad person. You're a product of all the things that have happened, but you clearly are a good person because you cared enough about your daughter, and you care enough about these other veterans and stuff to pull yourself out of it. So you drew on that strength. But anyway,
one thing I think is, because I did end up getting through it all, and I got a good discharge and all that, but but then I had problems after I got out. But the one thing that I think sometimes can be the most powerful for helping other people is if somebody else is, for lack of a better way of saying it, just as basic as them or less, coming from a simple place. Like, I wasn't like anything special, like, as far as, I think Marines in themselves are special, but like that, as far as anything compared to any of my buddies having problems, I was the guy that was actually like a problem the whole time. And so I would hope that any kind of problems that somebody else would have, they wouldn't be too embarrassed to come, speak to me about them, like, that's how a story can actually help a lot of times, I think, is just to let other people open up and talk, because there's a huge stigma in our country right now, even about talking, like that was the one thing I was talking about even the killing thing, dude, I specifically remember in the streets of Ramadi, I don't remember one single Marine crying about shooting somebody.
Right.
In fact, we all wanted to shoot more. Like, it was fun.
Right.
Like, it was fun. Like, I would be lying if I said it wasn't fun. We were having a blast. Like, it sucks when our guys got hurt. That was the horrible part. When our guys got hurt or killed. But as far as us killing them, we liked that part. Like, hey, to hell with you guys. Like, you guys hurt one of ours. Well, we'll try to kill like 30 of you guys, or whatever. That's the war game, But so when we come back here, it seems like so many guys feel like, and I think it's like a pressure, like that they need to speak a certain way or something. It's like they feel like they need to act like they just did what they had to do. Instead of, they can't openly admit it was awesome. Like, we were warriors, we were kicking ass. Like, they can't come back and do their war dances and do their war songs and stuff. So they kind of got to act like, oh, like it was terrible.
The thing is, violence is such an integral part. I mean, you look back to the gladiators and shit. It was entertainment. I mean, hell, we still have boxing. We just don't get to kill each other. Or was it UFC? Yeah. That sort of thing. I mean, so violence is but back then, they would put animals against people, and it was still we have bullfights. But the point is, violence is so to suggest that it doesn't exist, or it isn't part of our nature. And the thing is, you guys were doing a job as opposed to entertaining each other. But anyway, so go ahead.
One thing I wanted to say is, like, one spot where I've seen, and granted, I can say this, maybe guys didn't want me talking because the way that I am, I've been, a huge asshole at certain times. Like, I was pretty mean, like, the guys that I was with, they know me pretty well. I'm pretty well known. But so maybe they didn't want me to be like the mouthpiece for something or whatever, the way I was at the time or something. But
you weren't the voice of reason.
I remember one time they were telling me how I was talking about something, and I don't know that these were specific guys I was with, but it was on a Marine Corps infantry group. And they just started preaching at me about how we needed to be silent professionals, not talk. And I'm like, that's a problem. That is a problem. Like, we are hurting ourselves. If you look over at the guy next to you and he's been to war, and say he is the guy that is hurting inside, and say he's sad, say he feels like, he's going to go to hell or something, and he needs to talk about it or something. Don't try to close his mouth off. Because anything in this life, when you have problems, it's a known fact that speaking and getting that stuff out of you is like getting rid of a poison.
Right.
You know, and so in that way, there's a good part of the military community that preaches that silent professional thing, and I'm sure you've probably heard it before. You know, and on one note, yeah, that's nice to be all professional, but on the flip side, no, it's a terrible idea. There's a reason why warriors back in the day, they came back and told their stories, and they, you know, and everybody was proud of them. Now it's like if people come back and actually tell the real story of the way things went down, you got people looking at them like they're crazy, and you're going, dude, we're doing the job for you. Like, I understand this might seem a little crazy to listen about some guy's brain getting knocked out in the dirt, but that's actually what's getting done for you. Right. You know, that's what's getting done for the country.
This is what I want to ask. This is what I would ask of you, because that is the whole idea behind Hero Harbor. There's two aspects to it. The giving us, because everybody in there is, you can create an account without being verified. So anybody could technically create an account. However, you have to be verified as a real person and as a member of the military community or the hero community in order to actually communicate with anyone. Because I'm not having scammers and bullshit like that. There's a zero tolerance policy as far as that goes. And there's also a zero tolerance for that hate speech against heroes. So the first time that happens, you report, you're out of here, and I will make sure you don't come back. So the point is that we have a safe place to have those conversations with others that are just like us. Now, there's a couple aspects of it. I offer it as from a personal standpoint, such that, you know, if you, like right now, you don't have a business, you don't have a cause other than just wanting to help. So you can go in there and you can put, these are my interests. You're a hunter, right? I remember seeing pictures, didn't you? Yeah, okay. So you can put, you know, you're hunting, you're a Marine, you can put 5th Marines, and you can put Blackheart, and you can put all of those interests, we call them tags. And then you can search for others like you. And we're going to work on starting to put in the actual units so that you can choose, and we'll auto fill those tags. But anyway, then you can go in and you can search for people like you. So you can just be a shoulder, or you can find a shoulder if that's what you need. Now, if you have a business or have a cause, because I would like to help you as you know, achieve that goal of that dream of making those cabins and such for veterans. Then what we'll do is we'll put the URL to your site, and it will be the name of your company will be in gold, so that all the gold tags are, you know, we have verified that this person owns this company or runs this cause or whatever. So the idea is you'll have your website, you continue doing your thing from your website, but you're not having to fight off all the fake accounts and all the other crap and all the hate speech and all of that stuff. You have a safe space to communicate, and you can concentrate on doing what you do best, creating the content or helping the people that you're out to help. So that's the whole idea behind it. Of course, the way to make it work is to get people in there. So I'm gonna beg you from bended knee, if you ask me to go and create an account. I will verify you here, and then start helping me get, you know, if you know other veterans and other heroes, police, fire, you know, start getting them in there, and start having those those conversations, because like I said, you can schedule stuff within it. We can schedule unit reunions. We can schedule whatever we want, even if it's just coffee with a fellow veteran. And the thing is, because there's a lot of connections that can be made. For instance, I know somebody who runs an Etsy basically for veteran artists. I know a whole lot of veteran artists, but I am one person. And so for me to manually keep trying to make those connections, I can't do it forever. But if we get each other in there, you see what I'm saying, that's the idea behind it. The other thing is that we have video profiles, so you can take, you know, your story and any one of those videos that you've recorded and you can put it in there, and that allows people to hear, but it's in one place. You're not having to, because friend, you look, I don't know how many people, I didn't look at how many people you follow or accounts you follow, but for me, even I only follow a couple hundred, and yet I cannot possibly see all the content because I don't go on there all the time. Now, what I do is, if like with yours and somebody says, I'll go through and I will like a single account, as much of their stuff as I possibly can, in support of them. But if we're in HH, then we don't have to worry about that shit. It's not this fire hose of information. You know what I'm saying? So there's lots of people who believe in it, but they're still not going. They haven't yet gone in there because they haven't seen. Anyway. So that's I'm hoping that can be the tech solution for us to have that platform to communicate and share with each other without the noise and the bullshit. Anyway, so go ahead.
The reason I ended up getting an Instagram was because one of my brothers started up a Patreon site for me, and so I write little short stories.
I saw that. What does that mean?
It's where people can go on Patreon and they can post stories they write, or they can put art that they do, or they can put songs that they write. It's just another.
There's another site called Medium. It's more or less the same thing.
It's more like, instead of being like Instagram though, like people donate money on there. Like you can put it so that people have to pay like $2 to join or something. Like say, you don't get as much of you pretty much just, the people you would get would just be people that want to see what you got, so I've barely gotten started. That's why it's called Fragments of a Black Heart, I'm planning on writing stories from when I was a kid.
Right. You're a very talented writer. I saw some of your stuff and you're very, very talented. So that's awesome.
And so, because I like to write, I used to write stories all the time. I'd just throw them away. And then, whatever, my brother started this, so I'll start piling. I think I've only got like 25 written so far, and they're all fairly short stories, but we'll see what happens with it. But a lot of that, is like just an outlet for me, because like I say, I think it's a terrible thing where we have so many people that feel like they can't speak. Right. They like, it's a bad thing. It's taboo. Even, I've heard this a million times. Like say, like I'm more of a talker than most vets that I know, like that I was with, like most of the guys I know, they're probably not telling that many stories about what happened, whatever. There might be a few, but not very many. Anyways, so I'll be telling some story, and I've had people look me straight in the face and they'll be like, well, my great grandpa so-and-so was in whatever war or whatever. And
so that makes you an expert.
And he don't talk about it. So people that talk about it, they have never been there. And I'm like, okay, like what an idiot. Like, how do you think we ever got all of our history from before we had the internet, before we had all these things? Guys came back and talked about it. It's just nowadays it's so taboo that guys don't talk about it. Women don't talk about it.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you think that maybe, like, you were talking about the groups that, or the people that said, silent professionalism or whatever it was. Do you think they do that because of the backlash from civilians? I mean, do you think that they're trying to, I guess what I'm asking is, if they had a safe place where they could have those conversations without hurting the feelings of people who don't know better.
That was in a totally secret group. That was in a total.
Okay, so they were saying don't talk about it here, or they were saying don't talk about it ever.
Like pretty much at all, I guess. Like apparently, unless we're like at the bar together or something, because warriors always tell stories war stories together sitting at the bar. But I don't know. I mean, that's just it's baffled me. It's baffled me. I mean, I think, I don't know if it's just, I don't know. It's been a little bit of a mystery to me. I don't know why there's so much stigma around it. I myself have always wanted to know other people's stories.
Oh, I do too.
I don't know why people wouldn't want to know other people's stories.
Well, that's how we break down
people's stories all day long. I love listening to people.
That's how we break down the stigmas. For instance, and this, and it was the most amazing experience. So I was in Augusta back in October, and it actually was the 31st of October. I was trying to get the hell out of there because I don't get a lot of sleep, and I had a 5-hour drive here to New Smyrna, or I'm in Orlando now, but to New Smyrna. But I was wanting to get a tarp to cover stuff on my truck, and there's a gentleman there, and he and I ran into each other twice. And so the second time, we just started talking, and neither of us is wearing anything that says anything about, military or anything. We're talking, and you can't talk to me for 5 minutes without learning I was a Marine. That's just what happens. And as soon as I say that to him, his eyes get big as saucers, and he, says whatever he does. But he's a World War II. No, Vietnam era veteran. And anyways, we continue talking, and come to find out, because he had said something about his wife. And so I asked him, because like you, I want to know stories and I want to make those genuine connections. And so I asked him, and he said that he had lost her. And as it turns out, he lost her just barely a month earlier on my birthday.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so we continue talking, and I don't know what anybody else in Walmart thought about us, but we hugged, we cried, we hugged again, we cried some more, and it was the most amazing thing. I have his number, and I need to reach out to him. But that's the thing. It's like one of the things somebody had asked me some time ago, a young civilian had asked me, how do we, and this was actually prior to that interaction with that man, he'd asked me, how do we say thank you, or how do we support our veterans if we don't know that they're veterans? And for a minute I was stumped, and I was like, and then I was like, you know what? That's not the point. We need to be supporting everyone. And I said, and just being nicer in general. And I said, then maybe through that conversation, we learn that they're a veteran, and then you can say thank you. But the fact is, we just need to be kinder across the board. But then just a couple of days later, or, whatever, I have that conversation. And it was the very thing I was saying, that through, not shutting that guy out, through learning about him, we had an amazing experience, and we were both able to uplift each other. There was something in that I was thinking that I wanted to ask you, though. I don't know. Anyway, so what are your thoughts? I mean, was there something else that you had?
Well, I don't know. Like if as far as the whole guys having problems, people having problems, it's hard to face, but it might take 10 years. Mm-hmm. It might take 15 years. And the fight continues. For me, I was lucky. I had a spot to go to shortly after all that VA stuff. Mm-hmm. I ended up getting connected with the VA. And in that, I was lucky because even though I discarded their pills and stuff, I had some income. So right. I've never been lazy. I've never been lazy. I just never have been.
I know.
So, but anyways, I took I can't remember, a few months. I ended up in Alaska for a while with my daughter, and then I ended up out on the ranch in Montana. Mm-hmm. And I was lucky there because I worked there for, this is literally a testament to where our minds are, because I worked there for 3 solid years, every single day, not slacking, the morning till night and into the nights and stuff for free. I never pulled a paycheck, and and people just don't do that, I remember getting asked hey, you want a paycheck or what's going on here? And I told them, I said, I very literally can't handle having a boss.
Right.
I can't handle at this point in my life. I can't handle somebody telling me how to tie my shoes. Mm-hmm. Nothing. I'm not taking orders from anybody, period. I just couldn't,
No, I
had to be able to walk away. Now I'm in a different spot. I'm able to actually, be a little bit nicer. But at the time,
it's not nicer. This is the thing, and this is something that Staff Sergeant Brown and I talked about, is that, I say I'm an entrepreneur because either I quit or they fire me. because we're overachievers. We are problem solvers. We have to be, because I mean, you had to think on your feet all the time, and you had to fix things. You couldn't, you couldn't be apathetic. You couldn't let things just, oh, that's the way it is. No bullshit. I got to fix it, or I'm gonna die, or I got to fix it, or whatever. And so I say I'm a control freak, but I don't need to control other people. I need to control my environment. And this whole idea of, because I've been told, I told Staff Sergeant, I said, I've been told that you can't follow directions. I'm like, I'm a Marine, motherfucker. My life was about direction. It's not that. Even when I was in the Marine Corps, because I said so doesn't cut it. I am an intelligent person, and I'm going to reason it out. And I don't, here's a story. And I told this was a Marine that I worked with at Parris Island, and I told him a few years ago, we met up in Colorado, and I said, my first memory of you, and he said, and so I told him, I was 23, he joined much younger, so when I got to Parris Island as permanent personnel, he outranked me. And as I said, it was back in the film days, so the guys, the Marines who processed our film, were up above us, and so I had gone up there to drop off some stuff, and as I'm coming back down, this corporal hands me his stuff and tells me to go back up there. So I said, sorry, I'm doing something for Gunny, which was a blatant lie. But I am not, that was bullshit. I'm not being your bitch. Now if there had been something, if he'd been, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Right. So even back then, just because I said so doesn't fly. So the point is, so now, and you said about 10 years, 15 years, that's the thing. I told you I was 48. So I got out when I was 20, let me see, 23. So 27, 28, something like that was when I got out. So 20 years later is when I figure out what I can do best in the world. And the thing is, I started and stopped so many things because I would have just been another shingle, on the street. I would just been another, a me too. And that wasn't good enough for me. I needed to find what I could do best in all the world, better than anyone else. And I found it, but it took me 20 years, and it was numerous suicide attempts. And so that's what my point is, that we've got to get these people, these men and women, past that darkness, because it might take that long for them to figure out, and it might take that long for the environment to be created where their niche lands.
It does take that long, and the more that they give all these meds, the longer it takes.
Exactly.
I don't care what anybody says. I'm a firm believer on that. All they're doing is prolonging the agony and making it worse in the end.
When I had been off of the meds for I don't know how long, and I realized I was doing so much better, and when I sat down and started thinking about it, and in my book I mentioned this, I said, it wasn't, I said, I started crying. I said, but this wasn't the sad, just I don't feel good. I don't feel good kind of thing. This was body racking sobs of total grieving loss. I have given up almost 20 fucking years of my life where I was barely treading water. Now, I got the same problem. Where I managed to graduate college finally at the age of 43. And I got the whole weight thing under control. But beyond that, I was treading water the whole time. Luckily, I'm a good swimmer. And that's it's insane. And again, if any one of those suicide attempts had succeeded, I would not be here to do the things that we have set out to do. And that's what I'm getting at, is that we've got to help these men and women. We've got to get them to a place where.
I think if I didn't have my daughter originally, and I didn't end up having that ranch where I ended up going out and chilling. I mean, that all kind of went to hell now, but it worked for the years that I was there.
It got you through, and that's what matters.
If I wouldn't have had that and a place where I could go like that, I don't know, because the problem is like there's a lot of guys that end up in situations where they can't work through these different jobs or with these different people, and they get labeled as lazy.
Yes. Oh my God. And
that kills a guy. Even like, say for me, I'm not okay with ever having that label. So, but
they're not lazy and they're not crazy. Yeah.
Weird as it may sound, I was able to work, but I wasn't able to work if I was under any kind of pressure.
No, I get it. I get it.
Pressure, and I was gone.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing it. I'm out of here. I just couldn't deal with the pressure.
Right.
And that sounds weak too.
No, it doesn't.
It's just, like when a person thinks about it, it sounds like some sort of weakness, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But it's where I was at the time. It's where a lot of guys end up being at. I know that for a fact. I've been watching other guys. I've talked to guys. It's a terrible thing. But
yeah, okay, I'll give you a for instance.
To go.
Yeah,
there isn't a spot to go. There isn't a real spot to go, and our society, sadly, just doesn't understand what it really takes to take care of people.
Yeah.
It doesn't take pills. If we spent all these assets that we spent to medicate people and everything, we could take care of people in the right way and get them back out into the workforce. They're doing it the opposite way. Yeah. And sometimes I have to wonder if it's on purpose.
Right.
There's some
when you talk about anytime, I know, and that has crossed my mind too, because anytime you talk about the pharmaceutical industry or the insurance industry, and this is again a for instance that I mentioned in the book, is that we love labels, and a number of years ago, the American Medical Association labeled obesity as a disease. Obesity is a lifestyle problem. It is not a disease. A disease is something you catch. You do not catch obesity. But when you have stores that have candy on sale and you push your people to say, oh, hey, this is on sale. And then we judge these people who, and say, oh, they're weak. They don't have no, whatever. We build. Anyway, the point is, as soon as they did that, as soon as they made that a disease, then all of a sudden it opens the floodgates for more surgeries, more insurance, more drugs, all of that stuff, when what we need is the right motivation, not you need to look good or we need the right, because when you and I know that when it's for the right reason, you can do anything. You got better because you were doing it for your daughter. When we have the right motivation, whether it be for someone else, then we can fix anything. But the point is that when you start putting in insurance and all that greed, all that corporate greed, you cannot separate those. There's anytime that there's lots of money involved, it's
not getting separated. That's why we just have to do our own thing.
Right. When we hang up here, you're going to go create an account, right? And then and I will verify you. And then little by little, because and two, like I said, whatever you want to promote, if in terms of whatever it is, I don't know what you have going on, but if you have something specifically, a website or any of that stuff that and you gave me an idea when we were talking too. When you're talking about your artwork, or your writing, because like I said, you're an amazing writer. You're very talented, and the thing is, it's cathartic for you, so it doesn't matter if it's good or not. But somehow we will figure out. My big challenge right now is that my business partner is my ex-husband, and he went back to work to help fund all of this. Oh, what I started to say earlier when you were talking about being lazy, I recently quit a job. I was walking a dog for this lady twice a day because it gave me the freedom to continue doing this, yet still getting a regular paycheck. But I was having to form to plan my entire freaking day around her. And getting through traffic and all that stuff. And the thing is, she could let her dog out to pee in the yard. So it was strictly for walks, for exercise for the dog. And it's a little bitty dog. And that's all good. And I, jumped through any hoops she wanted and whatever. But she'd already dressed me down once before about being late. And
and I apologize, and I was really pissed off, but I was like, I need the money. We're just gonna let it slide. But there was a couple of weeks ago, as I said, I don't sleep, so I'd gone. VA has approved acupuncture for me, and so I was there. It finished right at the time that I was supposed to be with her, and I tried to reschedule it, but I couldn't. Either way, she was pissed off and whatever. And as I told my business partner, I said, it's going to take me 40 minutes to get there, and she's liable to fire me anyway. And it's like, no, you don't get to treat me like that and then fire me. No, fuck it, I'm out of here. And I blocked her. And then I got through another organization. She's been trying to reach me to come back to work for her. Yeah. Sorry, Freudian slip. But the point is that it's not lazy. You point me in the direction, and there is nobody works harder. Right. But I also have standards, and I don't care who's paying the bills. You don't get to treat me.
I also, like say for me, I'm one of them kind of people. I have to be interested in what I'm doing.
Oh, yes.
I'm not going to, like I had said in one of my videos a couple of days ago or something, money in itself has no motivating power over me. No. Like, to probably a fault. Yeah. Like, I wish it motivated me more, but it does not. What I do and what I want to do motivates me, as far as if it's something I want to do, I'll be more motivated about something that makes no money rather than something that makes me a millionaire if I'm interested in it.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, and that's why some people, but that's just the way I am. And I think a lot of people are that way.
Well, the thing is, there's so many people who are driven by money, and that's why we have all that crap, is because that's all they care about is money. And so they don't care who they hurt in the meantime. So, for you and I, and that's why I'm so thankful that, Veramore is a dating app, and Veramore is fully, it's a for-profit company. However, and we're not focusing on it right now. They're both very, very new. I am thankful for that because Hero Harbor is nonprofit, and it will always be that way. and so Hero Harbor allows me to help people, and once we get that up and running and sort of taking care of itself, then I can go back over here to Veramore, and it will earn a butt ton of money. But one of the things I'm so proud of is that at some point I will be able to say, you can. And here is proof, run a stupidly profitable company and not be an asshole, and not treat people badly. And that's what I can't wait to get to that day. And I will. I just like over around through, that mountain's going away. Right. That's what we do. But
yeah, I definitely, I feel better. I feel better now than I have in a lot of years. Mm-hmm. But I feel I got lucky in a way where I had a place to go. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, it still was the blacked out, drunken, rolling on the edge of the freaking river, wasted, freaking out. I'd wake up in the morning, get on my Facebook, and I'd be deleting stuff, hoping SWAT teams didn't show up or something. I remember I wouldn't even remember putting most of the stuff on my
I delete contacts. I all kinds of crazy stuff, and then afterward, a lot of times I regret it. But I just get pissy, and it's like you can't trust anything after I poured a drink. You just forget it. But so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna wrap up so that your phone doesn't die and on. But the thing is, we're gonna stay in touch whether through all of this. So you're gonna go create an account. I would just to he's supposed to be uploading a new version this weekend that's going to fix a whole bunch of stuff. But just to please me, there is a Marine in there. The Marine that I launched the first part of his story today. His name, you can't miss it. It's Staff Sergeant Brown. He's got in his profile picture, it's got a USMC thing on it, just to make me happy. And I will check up on you. Create an account and just send a message to him. Just say, hey, dude, and just because, like I said, his story, all of our stories are so similar. And if we can start, and I'm teasing, if you don't do it, it's not going to be the end of my world. But the fact is, we can help each other by doing those things. Because the thing is, you still struggle, I still struggle, he still struggles. He's got an amazing wife. He was dating his wife before he went in, or they got married while he was in, but and she's still there with him. And so But he still struggles after all this, and that's why he joined the app. I didn't ask him to. I didn't know anything about it. We met because he joined the app, but he had read, my stuff, and I'm telling you, that was the most amazing thing for me, because, for him to say, and he said it during the interview, he said, I was just so touched by what you're doing, and I could have died right at that moment and never been happier, because that's what I'm trying to do. Anyway, so I'm going to let you go, but we are going to stay in touch. You have my number, and so feel free to use it. You have my email, Dawn@Hero Harbor, but use those things, or as I said, create an account, reach out to me through the app. I'm here, and I will point you to other people. If you don't want to talk to me, I'll point you to other other men, whatever. We've been through it, and we can help each other. So,
oh yeah,
thank you.
It was definitely good chatting.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
It was awesome. And like I said, I will go back and listen to some of your things, some of your discussions. So,
all right, we'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Bye. Maybe.
Oh shoot! What do you got? What's that one?
What's your woman's name there?
Brandy.
Say it again.
Her name's Brandy.
Brandy. Hi, Brandy.
Hi.
I love your hair, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
My Vermore, Hero Harbor is, it's different, but whatever. But Vermore, which was the beginning of Hero Harbor, is purple. And so every time in fact, the shirt I'm wearing right now is a Vermore shirt. It's purple. But when I was going and presenting my company, I always had purple things in my hair, and I wore purple dresses or purple scarves or whatever. Ah, there he is.
I was guessing that one, but he pressed a different one we were trying to get out of.
Yeah, it's
there. I can switch it.
There we go.
There.
I didn't have the video on.
Oh, okay. All right.
I answered the call with the regular button,
Yeah, no worries. But anyway, yeah, there's, like I said, that you cannot separate those. There's anytime that there's lots of money involved, there's
it's not getting separated. That's why we just have to do our own thing.
Right.
You know.
When we hang up here, you're going to go create an account, right? And then and I will verify you, and then little by little, because and two, like I said, whatever you want to promote, if in terms of whatever it is, I don't know what you have going on, but if you have something specifically, a website or any of that stuff that you gave me an idea when we were talking too. When you're talking about your artwork, or your writing, because like I said, you're an amazing writer. You're very talented, and the thing is, it's cathartic for you, so it doesn't matter if it's good or not. But somehow we will figure out. My big challenge right now is that my business partner is my ex-husband, and he went back to work to help fund all of this. Oh, what I started to say earlier when you were talking about being lazy, I recently quit a job. I was walking a dog for this lady twice a day because it gave me the freedom to continue doing this, yet still getting a regular paycheck. But I was having to form to plan my entire freaking day around her. And getting through traffic and all that stuff. And the thing is, her dog, she could let her dog out to pee in the yard. So it was strictly for walks, for exercise for the dog. And it's a little bitty dog. And that's all good. And I, jumped through any hoops she wanted and whatever. But she'd already dressed me down once before about being late. And I apologize. And, I was really pissed off. But I was like, I need the money. We're just going to let it slide. But there was a couple of weeks ago, as I said, I don't sleep. So I'd gone, the VA has approved acupuncture for me. And so I was there. It finished right at the time that I was supposed to be with her. And I tried to reschedule it, but I couldn't. Either way, she was, pissed off and whatever. And as I told my business partner, I said, it's going to take me 40 minutes to get there, and she's liable to fire me anyway. And it's like, no, you don't get to treat me like that and then fire me. No, fuck it. I'm out of here. And I blocked her. And then I got through another organization. She's been trying to reach me to come back to work for her. Yeah. Sorry, Freudian slip. But the point is that it's not lazy. You point me in the direction, and there is nobody works harder. Right. But I also have standards, and I don't care who's paying the bills. You don't get to treat me
I
like
also, you know, like say for me, I'm one of them kind of people. I have to be interested in what I'm doing.
Oh,
and
yes, yes.
I'm not going to, like I had said in one of my videos a couple days ago or something. Money in itself has no motivating power over me.
No.
Like, to probably a fault.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
I wish it motivated me more, but it does not. What I do and what I want to do motivates me, you know, as far as if it's something I want to do, I'll be more motivated about something that makes no money rather than something that makes me a millionaire if I'm interested in it.
Right. Absolutely.
That
well,
makes
and
sense
that's why
to some people, but that's just the way I am. And I think a lot of people are that way.
Well, the thing is, there's so many people who are driven by money, and that's why we have all that crap, is because all they, you know, that's all they care about is money. And so they don't care who they hurt in the meantime. So, you know, for you and I, and that's why I'm so thankful that, you know, Veramore is a dating app, and Veramore is fully, you know, it's a for-profit company. However, and we're not focusing on it right now. They're both very, very new. I am thankful for that because Hero Harbor is nonprofit, and it will always be that way. and so Hero Harbor allows me to help people, and once we get that up and running and sort of taking care of itself, then I can go back over here to Veramore, and it will earn a butt ton of money. But one of the things I'm so proud of is that at some point I will be able to say, you can, and here is proof, run a stupidly profitable company and not be an asshole, you know, and not treat people badly. And that's what I can't wait to get to that day. And I will. I just like, you know, like over around through, that mountain's going away. That's what we do. But
yeah, I definitely, you know, I feel better now than I have in a lot of years. But I feel I got lucky in a way where I had a place to go. And I'm telling you, it still was the blacked out, drunken, rolling on the edge of the freaking river, wasted, you know, freaking out. You know, I mean, I'd wake up in the morning, get on my Facebook, and I'd be deleting stuff, hoping SWAT teams didn't show up or something. I remember I wouldn't even remember putting most of the stuff on my
I delete contacts. I all kinds of crazy stuff, and then afterward, a lot of times I regret it. But I just get pissy, and it's like you can't trust anything after I poured a drink. You just forget it. But so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna wrap up so that your phone doesn't die and on. But the thing is, we're gonna stay in touch whether through all of this. So you're gonna go create an account. I would just to he's supposed to be uploading a new version this weekend that's going to fix a whole bunch of stuff. But just to please me, there is a Marine in there. The Marine that I launched the first part of his story today. His name, you can't miss it. It's Staff Sergeant Brown. He's got in his profile picture, it's got a USMC thing on it, just to make me happy. And I will check up on you. Create an account and just send a message to him. Just say, hey, dude, you know, and just because, like I said, in his story, all of our stories are so similar. And if we can start, and I'm teasing, if you don't do it, it's not going to be the end of my world. But the fact is, we can help each other by doing those things. You know, because the thing is, you still struggle, I still struggle, he still struggles. He's got an amazing wife. He was dating his wife before he went in, or, you know, yeah, they got married while he was in, but you know, and she's still there with him. And so but he still struggles after all this, and that's why he joined the app. I didn't ask him to. I didn't know anything about it. We met because he joined the app, but he had read, you know, my stuff, and I'm telling you, that was the most amazing thing for me, because, you know, for him to say, and he said it during the interview, he said, I was just so touched by what you're doing, and I could have died right at that moment and never been happier, because that's what I'm trying to do. Anyway, so I'm going to let you go, but we are going to stay in touch. You have my number, and so feel free to use it. You have my email, Dawn@Hero Harbor, but use those things, or as I said, create an account, reach out to me through the app. I'm here, and I will point you to other people. You know, if you don't want to talk to me, I'll point you to other, you know, other men, whatever. We've been through it, and we can help each other. So,
oh yeah,
thank you.
It was definitely good chatting.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was awesome. And like I said, I will go back and listen to some of your things, some of your discussions. So.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for spending this time with us. If you enjoyed the content we shared with you, please subscribe, review, and share this show with your friends. Veramore, the dating app, and Hero Harbor, the social connection tool for heroes, are both in the app stores. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as Veramore, Veramore_app, or Hero Harbor.